we're very grateful for allowing us to do this. We realized this was not part of the schedule, so.
Thank you, brother.
You can exchange later on. You can exchange later on.
This matches with my sari.
Wonderful. Can I do the honor?
Yes, that's why I changed.
Now they're sisters.
lagi.
So please go back to your seats. 好，我们的这个活动啊，马上要进入尾声了，请大家再稍微坚持一下。
For Thomas and Seham, we have your scarves. Somebody will have to carry them for you. I think maybe Joseph Kwan can carry your scarf, yeah? And Seham, who should we give it to for you? Seham ka kisko denge? Thank you. Thank you very much.
好，最后请各位领导回到座位上。So please go back to your seats, and we will have a big group photo. 请摄影师到台上，请摄影师到台上。我们请各位老师，刚刚在周围的各位老师、同学们都回到自己的座位上，我们拍一张最后的这个集体照。
好，我们大家看前面，好吧？我们拍张全体大合影，请各位嘉宾看前面。老师朝前看啊！稍等一下。好，大家都看前面。朝前看啊！来，大家保持微笑，对，看前方。
至此，交接仪式圆满完成，感谢各位共同见证这一重要的时刻。接下来呢，会有15分钟的茶歇，之后呢，我们将进入主旨报告的环节，聆听各位专家的精彩分享。再次感谢大家。
behind the schedule， 我们已经延误很长时间了，请大家坐到位置上，我们的下一个主旨报告环节马上要开始了，请还在外面的老师、嘉宾和同学尽快入场了，请我们的工作人员招呼外面的嘉宾、老师、同学入场，谢谢。我们各位嘉宾、各位老师、各位同学，我们这个主旨报告环节现在开始。首先有请这个环节的主持人同济大学建筑城规学院的院长王澜教授上台主持，谢谢。
非常感谢周明浩教授的介绍啊，我也是很有幸来今天主持这样的一个主旨报告。我们刚才呢一起见证了我们亚洲建筑协会主席的交接仪式，也是听到了各位这个致辞嘉宾对于我们亚洲建筑界整个后续的发展提出了问题和挑战。因此我想在我们的主旨报告环节，我们的学科和我们的实践都将会思考如何去回应。那么在我们今天的这个主旨报告的环节，有幸邀请到了4位在建筑领域成绩卓著的这个专家学者，而且更重要也是实践的建筑师，来为我们分享他们的思考和实践。而且作为整个建筑应用学科这样的特色，我们将在这里聆听到的是他们在设计中的思考，在理论中的实践。那么我们首先呢将邀请到第一位主旨嘉宾报告，他来自于这个 Heatherwick Studio 的这个，他是合作人，而且也是中国工作室的总监 Craig Miller 先生。他呢长期深耕设计与社会影响的研究，并且在很多的这个我们叫 Global City 都具有这个实践的沉淀。同时他的代表作也包括我们非常熟悉的世博会的英国馆，还有新加坡、伦敦香港非常多知名的建筑项目。所以他会给我们带来他在整个现在最前沿的一些思考，里面包括了跨学科、跨国际的一些合作项目。那我们首先用热烈的掌声欢迎我们的 Craig Miller 先生。
Thank you. I am delighted to be here among such distinguished guests. But I have a confession. I am not from Asia. But I am proud to call Asia my home. And for the last 15 years, I've had the great privilege to live in and learn from some of Asia's greatest cities, from Hong Kong to Singapore, and now Shanghai. And it's Shanghai that we chose to establish our first studio in Asia to contribute to this remarkable city, this forward-thinking metropolis, and crucially to collaborate with the incredible talent that is emerging from universities such as Tongji. And I am proud to collaborate every day with a team of Chinese nationals who have worked both with us in London and in China to really work together to bring new ideas, to bring together perspectives and proposals from different backgrounds, different cultures, and to really innovate how we can live together in our ever more dense cities. As I say, we are living closer together than ever before. More people are living in cities and urban environments than ever. And even within those cities, the density seems to be ever increasing. And we have developed many technologies and materials that are cheap and efficient and fast to build. And yet, many of our cities feel and look the same. Many of the buildings feel and look the same. And this is having an effect on us. And if we look to the past, how we used to build compared to how we build now and how we've been building recently, we've lost identity, we've lost craft, we've lost human scale. And it's remarkable the number of buildings that are 100, 200 years old that we are preserving, that seem to have many lives, that are deemed worthy of keeping and reusing. And I think the question is, with our modern buildings, will anyone care enough? Will anyone love those buildings enough to have that last 100 years, 200 years? How many people will have an emotional connection with the building on the right or the left to keep that? So what legacy are we leaving the next generation? But also, are we building enough for ourselves? Are we putting enough effort, enough love, enough craft, enough culture into our modern buildings? And we seem to have got really good at designing the insides of buildings. We can create optimal daylight, we can purify the air, we can cater for many thousands of people and have sanitation and have places that are warm and secure, and yet we seem to not care as much about the many more people that experience the outside of our buildings, that may not be the direct user of the buildings, but are the passerby. And the cumulative effect of that on our cities, I think you can see in that not many buildings make you stop and stare. Not many buildings have an emotional impact on you as you walk past. And our cities have been developing at a rapid rate. And actually, our brains haven't developed at that same rate. Evolutionary, we are still quite ancient animals. And so, with this rapid change into dense urban cities, our brains are struggling to catch up. And it's having an impact in the way that we think.
Work is a pain in the ass.
Our eyes and our brains are used to and enjoy and benefit from the deep textures and intricate patterns of nature, the ever-changing textures, the ever-changing colors, the depth of field that you get with nature. And when we spend many of our days in flat, hard, cold, sterile, concrete environments, evidence is now showing that that has a cumulative effect on our mental health. But there's some very fascinating research that's ongoing that shows that we can recreate that impact through buildings, not just with nature. And it's something to do with patterns, it's something to do with depth of field and how our eyes and our brains react to those particular textures. And so this has led us on to thinking about how we can evolve our designs, how we can modernize and regenerate our cities in a new way. And we've been used to, as architects, many of us were taught about form following function. And that's fine, and yes, it's true, but we cannot forget about emotion. And so we believe that we need to reframe how we're designing and treat emotion as a function and not just as a reaction. And this is some of the research that we are involved with, which is looking globally and working globally with universities and practices and clients and governments and developers to really explore this topic in more depth and to share the findings. And with the remarkable technologies that we now all have in our hands and on our wrists, we can actually measure stress levels that are caused as you walk around a city. So very soon we'll be able to map cities emotionally and understand the physiological impact that our cities have and be able to test which designs make us feel better. We're also living in a hyper-digital age. Many hours of our days are spent looking at digital screens. Many of our social interactions are now through artificial means. And this technology that has simultaneously brought us closer together is somehow also dividing us and making us more socially isolated. So we have this strange phenomena happening whereby people don't actually have to go to work anymore. You can work from your bedroom. People don't have to come to university. You can study from your bedroom. People don't have to go out and socialize or shop. All of that can happen digitally into your homes. And that's changing how we move around our cities. It's changing how we use our buildings, and it's beginning to change the value of those buildings. So it is an important issue. So as a practice, as a studio, we're championing a hyper-physical future. We believe that in a hyper-digital age, with all of these digital stimulants, all of this digital distraction, we need to reinvest and reframe our physical environment. So it's exciting and inspiring to go out and enjoy. And so I'll share now with you one of our latest projects where we collaborated with a Chinese client, a Chinese city, and Chinese craftsmen to bring something new to a quite well-established typology. In the city of Xi'an, ancient capital, we were tasked with developing a huge new area surrounded by new buildings, new housing, but also an ancient temple. And so for us, the challenge is how to bring a huge new development into this area. How do you create context within this environment? How do you bring a place to gather, a place of gravitation, a place that has an identity within this modern environment? And rather than thinking about buildings and being inspired just by buildings, we love the craft and the love that goes into making furniture. And we became inspired by that. And we always ask ourselves, why do buildings feel like they don't get the same level of craft and attention that a piece of furniture gets? And so we worked to break down the massing into a series of nested pavilions and made them inhabited by nature, inhabited by public space, and then looked to the history of the area, the incredible crafts that are in this area and that are still in this area. And we went to visit those craftsmen and developed a new cladding system based on ancient ceramics, whereby we're able to create individual textures and patterns at scale and at not an expensive price. But what this allows us to do then is bring more joy and detail and craft into an incredibly large building, but do it in a way that reflects the ancient histories and crafts of this region, but reinvents them for the modern era. And at the center of this scheme, this isn't just an insular shopping mall, of which there are now thousands across China. No one's interested in going to those shopping malls anymore. They want a physical experience. They want something to share with their friends. They want memories. They want to take pictures and post them. And so our client asked us to come up with something that created a new center for this part of the city. And we were inspired by this incredible 1,500-year-old tree, the scale, the color, the vibrance, the beauty, and the detail. And so we tried to embed the spirit of that within the project itself to create an underlying reference, something that is repeated through the design, something that helps invoke memories of the place. Secondly, we were studying the Silk Road, which passed through the city. And so we developed a design that creates a living sculpture that represents the 7 biomes across the Silk Road. And what this does is create something that is distinct. It is very modern, and yet it has its roots and its inspiration in a historic past. It's a walkable living sculpture that embeds biodiversity, embeds stories from the past, embeds history, but creates a dynamic, forward-thinking, gravitational moment that will draw people out to come and visit this destination. It is very man-made. It is unashamedly man-made, and yet it has a conversation with nature. It is deeply textural, it is deeply sculptural, and yet it also becomes a canvas for artworks and light shows to form the centerpiece of celebrations within the local community and the city. And on the roof of the development, rather than position all of the mechanical equipment which normally goes on the roofs of buildings, we created parks that are open to the public and free to access. And so this is a gift of generosity from the client back to the city to create this freely available open space where normally it would be inaccessible and purely equipment. And so we can now, with our modern ways of building and technologies, we can inject buildings with nature. We can create new types of environments, new hybrid environments that really help soften and allow us to bring the best of both worlds, both nature and man-made. And inside as well, we focused on craft. We want everything to have a story and a texture and a detail. And for us, it's not just about the building, it's about these small human moments of connection that people can come together and enjoy and be inspired by interesting design. And so this is a building of big scale, it's a building of small details, but each has had love and attention. And that's something that we think is more achievable with modern ways of making, modern ways of using digital fabrication, AI. All of these things can be combined with ancient ways of making to create new futures that reflect our culture now. And so in this age, we've moved from a period of growth and speed and efficiency to cater for growing populations and growing economies. And now I think we can reconnect with the past and we can look to maybe slow down a little bit, take a little bit more care, think about mental health as well as economic health as well as planet health, and really create buildings which are more public, more generous, with more ornament and detail and stories and humor, and hopefully more nature. 谢谢 Thank you.
非常感谢米勒先生啊！首先，我们给米勒先生颁发一个感谢状 （certificate of this lecture and also thanks）。谢谢米勒先生。我们听到米勒先生在他的这个报告中间啊，首先指出和原来的建筑相比，可能我们现在的建筑会缺少一些手工艺的细节和情感。另外呢，我想他非常强调了建筑外部对于人的影响，人的健康的影响和这种感受的影响，并且也通过他们事务所所做的实际的案例来例证怎么在我们的建筑设计中间能够照顾到这样的一些健康情感和建筑的意义。让我们再次感谢米勒先生。接下来呢，我们将有请来自我们学院，就是同济大学建筑与城市规划学院的袁峰教授，他也将成为我们下一任的院长。他是美国建筑师协会的荣誉会士，同时也拿到了我们国家的这个高层次人才计划，并且呢，也主编了这个Architectural Intelligence 这样一个期刊。并且也是我们这个国际建协职业实践委员会的理事委员，而且袁峰老师呢，或者说袁峰教授，在我们整个的这个建筑圈内，一方面是作为老师同时也有非常多的实践，拿到了很多的设计大奖，其中也包括国际建筑师协会的建筑技术最高奖。还有国际计算性建筑设计协会的最高奖等等。那么，让我们有请我们的袁峰老师。
Good morning, honorable members, distinguished guests, and the colleagues here. A very warm welcome to the significant ceremony. This is a profound honor to stand here before you as we mark this pivotal transition in the leadership of ARCASIA. Today is a celebration of continuity and also the shared purpose. We gather with deep gratitude for the dedicated service and the visionary leadership of the ongoing team. And your commitment has steered our federation with great purpose. To the incoming leadership, we extend our fully trust and support. We are confident you will guide ARCASIA to the new heights and build upon our strong foundation of collaboration. We are looking forward to further the future continued progress and unity under your stewardship. Welcome and thank you for joining us for this moment, including all the fellowship, including all the formal or the new presidents, and also the forward commentum. So today, my topic will be the non-local locality. So I'm hoping to address our special occasion on the topic of the challenge opportunities in Asia right now. So what is new humanism today? I think I want to quote in the Gilbert Simondon, the technical mentality. He mentioned, on the one hand, we should extract humanity from the living matters. On the other hand, introduce technology into the culture. I think it's both important right now as a background of the social process. Over the years, I think over the past 15 years, we host a very special event in Shanghai named Studio Futures. We host totally, I think, more than 500 studio workshops. Only in 2022, we have 133 workshops. I think it's crowded of students, and they're looking forward to study different kind of technology and also understand what is AI and the new technology, this kind of non-local things, which is crowded around the whole world. In 2022, the topic we produce is One Planet. We're thinking about, at this special moment, technology not only considered in the social process, but also should contribute to the sustainability and our future planet we live on the whole world. So this special day, I think I met the Health Week today. I remember 10 years ago, the Dean of University of Princeton, he actually wrote a paper and put forward a special diagram here, which is a political campus. And it's interestingly, Health Week studio and ArcAsia, my studio, were put in the same category, which is integrated, including the populace and also the technical orientation or the technical driven design. I think it's important as a background. And also 2 years ago, UCL, one of the leading professors whose name is Maria Kappel, who also put forward a diagram which is listing all this kind of booming technology, especially on AI and the digital, over the past 50 years. So I'm lucky my name is on the right corner, is related to the digital tectonics, I think, which is also the global culture, which is booming, and also this kind of non-local things, very focused on the technology. In China, we have a brief history over the past 50 years of digital in architecture in China. So the blue part is the event we host over the past 15 years, and the yellow is different topic, different apples, fruits we put on the plate. Every year we have different topics. You can see different kind of concepts of digital in architecture over the years, which is really impressive. And also we're looking forward, we follow the culture of this trend evolution, as well as we're also leading what will be the next through on the practice and teaching affairs, which already happened in China. And this is 11 years ago, we developed a special platform named Offsite Robotic Platform with 2 twin robotic teams, gantry teams, which can custom this kind of prefabrication technology, including 15 different kind of crafts, which totally collaborating with human and machine. As well, we also developed FA Robot, which is a software right now, which is AI-powered to enhance the robotics and collaborating with designers. So it's just kind of one straight express way to translate your drawing papers all the way to different crafts, different materialities, including the 3D printing, including robotic fabrication, so on and so forth. And year by year, we invite different philosophers coming to us. I remember in 2021, Bernard Stiegler, who put forward a special topic, introduced what is the technical culture. He put forward that special idea as a grammatization of memory. So it's kind of a slowly rewriting process of the memory, but actually implement the technology as a special tools to do such kind of work. In 2017, I was invited to participate in Chicago Biennale, and also these projects were collected by New York MoMA. I think the curator is Mark Lee, who is from Harvard University. And the topic of that time is make new history. I think most important in his introduction of the Biennale, this image was put on in the first slides, because from his understanding, it should be all very local practice, but contemporary at that time. But after my introduction in the exhibition, it's all fabricated by machines and robotics. So that's the special point from 2017. And during the COVID in New York MoMA, they especially make an exhibition in the second floor named Reuse, Renew, Recycle, a recent architecture from China. And also one of the projects was make exhibition there. I think is also hit to different topic at the time. So this is 2016. We firstly implement robotics in the reuse bricks to the brick mansion, robotic mansion in the urban renovation project in Shanghai. So this is a facade at the time. And also this project was collected by the Hong Kong M+, which is under exhibition right now, which you can see this is very early, maybe the first machine crafts in Asia to introduce this kind of human-machine collaboration into the urban renovation project. So this project was constructed in 2009, which is around 18 years ago. And also we implemented robotics to fabricate this kind of mock-up exhibition for Hong Kong M+. And then I would like to introduce this process to analyze what is non-local, what is locality, the relation between that. The first project is we finished in 2017 named In Bamboo, which is a couple of projects actually just in one small village, including 87 families. So we firstly designed the community center for them, and the rural community center actually make use of the 2 rundown houses, and then try to introduce some public events into the community of the local people. So this is in 2018, Venice Biennale, this big model was exhibited there, and finally this model was collected by New York MoMA and Hong Kong Plus. And this is the model actually introduces kind of new topological geometry into the local like timber material. You can see all this kind of the frameworks actually is different. So which should be like not a mass production, which is a very low production, but should be customized in very short time. So every piece is different. And then we invite this kind of digital twins, including robotics, and also how to control the robotics into this kind of crops by scripting. So this is the detailed drawings, not the paper drawings, but not the BIM modeling. It's just this kind of scripts directly control the robotics fabric in a very short time. So this building was constructed in only 52 days, which is extremely intense. But you can see the in bamboo is kind of poetic living style, which is local, but as well as introduce this kind of new technology into this practice. You can see from this, like lower a bit, this special video, you can see only one building start to change this community. Right now, it's become one of the most representative rural community in Sichuan province, just because of the development of such a rural public buildings. And then we, very neighbor to this project, was around like 5 kilos away, we designed another building named the Eyes of Bamboo, because it's surrounded by bamboo forest. So this building is like the tectonic thing is there. It's different layers, including the timber structure and including the steel and timber collaborative composite structure system. And also we use the tiles to make the topological of this kind of surface of the roof to be the wall and to be the roof. So this kind of topological geometry also collaborating with the local culture, which is like the eyes located in the bamboo forest. So very fast, you can see these buildings, the materiality all localized, but you can see the difference is we introduce this kind of the hypergeometry into the design and construction process. Another one is also very close by in Sichuan, and 1 year later, and also introduced the same structure system. One of the local, which is a circulation, including the farmers market at the weekend. And you can see the people still doing a lot of allotment farming work at that time, and also the pathing through this strait. So, and also the similar local material introduced robotic brick mansion, also the steel and timber composite structure system to build the special topological geometry system into this kind of very poetic bamboo forest. So the project's located in the rural area of China, which is normal. And also the local people becomes like it very much. They're proud of this kind of space. Invited friends, make a special event very locally. I think that is especially important to attract people back from the main cities. Over the years, they can like confidence about the local culture and about local life. So, and this video showing like in the foggy season, which is typical in the Lingpan, which is like the bamboo forest area of Sichuan province. So local life is updated. I think it's updated not only because of the local culture, but also introduce the new technology, new understanding, the new concept of design into the identity of the space. You can see, because it's an earthquake area, we implement some of the steel structures. We can see this kind of transparency is also important to embracing all these kind of allotments and the greeneries surrounding the whole area. So, and also the living space, the standards is updated. So, which is also embracing this kind of the new identity of space and also the local culture as well. And this one, I'm luckily elected by the community of ARCASIA last year in Korean selected as the special award for sustainability. So I would like to introduce the Yunnan, the Rural Community Hub and the Community Academy. So the project is because of the strong connection between Tongji and Yunnan, because of the supporting this kind of development there. So that area is on the boundary of China and the Myanmar border, with only 50 kilos away from the border of China. And year by year, because there becomes isolation and poverty because of the transportation, this kind of short horse trail was actually changed by different kind of transportations. So the first time in 2019, when we visit the village, we spent a long time traveling, fly to Dali and 5 hours driving to the site and take this kind of meals, climbing the mountain. You can see we met a special local lady, and she actually introduced her meal stable and woodshed. I think the facade is fantastic. It can compete to our Caesar, right? It's very contemporary, but actually very local. The architecture without architects, the proportion, everything. The ground floor is stable, the second floor is woodshed. So it's just a very interesting local construction site. So we design a very local village hub to help the people to build their community identity. So this is the concept. It's from the One Seal courtyard. Very fast going through to see the process of the constructions. We also introduced this kind of lightweight the steel structure with the local materials, including the earth stamps. And you can see the cow trails is passing through these buildings. And also the local material is just collecting from the riverside, and this kind of red stones, which is also collected by the local people. Year by year, they use these materials as a sustainability material for the constructions. So this kind of vernacular adaptability is when you first glimpse of a community hub, which is so familiar because of materiality. But when you see this kind of pitched roof, it's leading you, which is not the functional use of the building, but becomes leading you to a public space. And the process, we implement the rammed earth crafts, which is the most familiar of crafts to the local villagers. So all these buildings were constructed by the villagers themselves. And this process is slow. They spend almost 1 year because they're busy. Farming season, they cannot do something. So the busy planting and collecting season, they're just working as a peasant. But after they're coming back, they start to construct the building layer by layers. When you see this kind of reading the beauty of the surface of the rammed wall, and marks traces there actually record the authenticity, the crafts, which is represent the daily life there in the village. And actually, when it was constructed, the local people liked it very much. It's a semi-open space. They actually produce this kind of gathering space, and the daily life coming back to this kind of rural people. And also you can see this happy time, and the shangqi is sculpting the wall, and the people, their life is sculpted by this kind of buildings. So the isolation and poverty has been leaving the many eldest people and the young children stay there. So the critical moment, actually, these people start together, and you can see the smiles on their face. And also after the school time, the children is coming here to gathering, and as well as in the morning time and after the farming work, the square dancing, which is the Guangchangwu, which is famous all of China. You can see these people wearing special clothes coming back to doing a lot of public work. So as well as the instrument was playing under the floated corridor, whereas the music back to the daily life. And also a special social event to reassemble the space, the public space. When you look outside the window, you can see the floating of the roof actually become part of the screen, integrating the square with the nature. And also, once I shooting this picture by myself during one of my visits back to the hub, I experienced the sublime of the mountains by the skill of 2 kids. I still remember asking them, what's your dream in the future? And their answer, I want to be a pilot. I want to be a mule doctor. Apparently, the sublime is not just the screen in your eyes, but becomes the dream in your mind. So, and afterwards, we also construct another academy, which is very fast going through academy 2 years later. Just produce education possibility for not only the children in the schools, but also the villagers. And also the trails passing through and also integrating the school with the mountain and with the university. So you can see this kind of public space and also light was introduced and the ventilation was introduced in this kind of very low-cost buildings. And although when you look outside of the window, you can see from the villages, you can see the publicity of this kind of sustainable village. And a lot of events and of different people, minority people, they have different events. And also the local crafts becomes live stream there. So this building actually changed the different kinds of connections, the background maybe to the villages at that time. And also we gave sharing this kind of living space, give lectures from outside people coming there and showing this kind of the new publicity. I think this kind of new public space gave identity, including which is not real, but it may be a little bit like hetero-utopian, but reassemble the novel social life. So this is the last video I want to show. This is a very local village. There you can see which is normal in the rural area of China, but actually just because of this kind of buildings, we try to introduce to the local community. Actually, we're learning from local culture, but as well as introduce this kind of new technology to change the quality and the contemporaneity to the local community. So thanks for your attention. It's really a good honor. Welcome to Shanghai. Thank you.
非常感谢袁院长。下面有请我们武校长、吴主席上来给那个袁峰老师颁发这个感谢状。好的，谢谢武校长。非常感谢袁院长，其实他真的是回顾了过去在我们学院做的这个数字未来的工作坊，而且呢，也是整个对于数字建筑的理念和技术整个的演进有了一个非常清晰的这个梳理，并且呢，还结合他自己设计的多个建筑来说明，在现在这个智能技术这样一个非常抽象的工具，如何能够深度的融入地方文化，而且把这种所谓叫非地化的、非在地的，我们叫这个本地化和就是 localization 和 globalization 一直是我们可能希望讨论和融合的主题。那么他在这里呢，是提出了技术逻辑的非在地性，而且思考如何把这个融入到建筑的时空意义和人文回应中间。让我们再次感谢袁院长的。接下来呢，我们将有幸邀请到亚洲建筑协会 C 区的副主席，同时也是韩国5工作室建筑师事务所的创始人 Gibson Ri 先生来为我们做报告。他呢，长期这个专长于总体规划、项目管理和大型的混合用途项目的开发，而且在多个地区，包括亚洲、非洲、中东都有实践的经验，也服务于这个韩国的三星公司、科威特大使馆这样的非常具有标志性的项目，也同时也获得了可持续发展的奖。让我们用热烈的掌声欢迎 Gibson Ri 先生。
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. And when Minghao called me, our honorary secretary, I thought this kind of a talk is mandatory for every vice president. So I said, okay, it's a mandatory thing, I thought. But I want to use this opportunity to think about, because it looks like in many of our ARCASIA member countries, the perpetual growth or very rapid growth is almost coming to an end. And then we need to seeking a new solution for the new generation of architects. Because without that, we do not have the next future generation. So that is very important for the sustainability of the profession. So when you come to every architects conference, these three things are the key vital agenda. But because I'm the vice president of the Zone C under Wu Jiang's leadership, so there are 7 countries in Zone C: China, Japan, Korea, Mongolia. Many of our member institutes are suffering from the issue of aging population. And I actually started this year with a big hope. 2016, I'll be more lucky, prosperous, and there will be no shock in the global events. But on January 3rd, the CNN, BBC all televised this capture of a very famous Latin American politician, and something is happening in Tehran, Iran, and reminding that global or international village is still very vibrant and noisy. But I want to talk briefly about my career. And I was working in a big firm in Korea, and I master planned and did the architectural design of a big sort of let's say wholesale market that trades very big volume in feeding the 10 million people in Seoul, Korea. And also I was lucky to win the competition of designing Korea Cultural Center in New York City. When you come to Manhattan, New York City, and then there is a big sort of a pile of Korean restaurants along the 32nd Street in Midtown Manhattan, and then you can find this sort of a Korea Cultural Center in the middle of the Koreatown. So please come and enjoy the exhibition there. My work experience or my experience at ARCASIA is relatively short comparing with very rich and dense experience of immediate past presidents Saifuddin and also Wu Jiang and Rita So and Tan Pei-ying always give us some guidance. I was helping organizing committee of last year's ARCASIA Congress in Incheon, and I had tasked by our president take care of the visa. And I was thinking like, oh, that's easy. Like I have one intern, and maybe I can take care of everyone. And then the intern was coming to me and then say like, we have 80 requests from Bangladesh. And I have a very good friends, Bangladesh. And also we have a very big, let's say, delegation registration from Pakistan. How I want to, or how I convince our, let's say, Ministry of Foreign Affairs that every one of them get a visa. And also Nepal has a very big request. And I was kind of inundated, flooded by these requests. And I was asking myself, why am I doing this? But I was reminded every face of these architects who really wish to come to Korea. And my sort of a mentor, Chun Shin, said, that's ARCASIA. Now you need to care every one of them to come to Korea. So that gave us a lot of sort of a momentum and inspiration. So look at these happy faces. They are in Incheon. So that was the story, but I had a little bit of experience when Seoul, Korea hosted UIA conference in 2017. So many architects came to Korea. And then we have a small session of Japan, China, Korea, small exchange. we had sort of a think tank sort of a discussion. And at the time, we were sort of amazed by China's rapid growth of urbanization. So GDP increased like almost 10 times bigger the time when China joined the World Trade Organization. It's sort of the big sort of engine started to throttle. And then some of the urbanization sort of relentlessly moving forward. And then this sort of, let's say, the Cultural Revolution era poster, and then Shanghai's sort of a miracle is happening, but not just in Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, everywhere in China begin to develop. But when we met in 2017, our small discussion, including my dear friend Yasuyuki Sakurai, the chair of Japan's International Committee, we had a sort of a saying like, and Japan was at the time sort of suffering from the bubble burst, and then Korea also experienced some of the recession. So if a country's demographic sort of birth rate go below 10 among the 1,000 people, then there will be some recession, and then you need to restructure the profession of architecture. That's what we were saying. And then, but our sort of Chinese friends, we are too busy in building cities. We cannot think about sort of stopping the engine. That was understandable. But when I was trying to compare, before I came here, and then China's urbanization rate is kind of reaching more than like a 67%. And then the dwindling birth rate is coming like there is a cross point that happened around 2000. What if when this sort of a cross mark happening, and then there will be, I also tried to find some other statistics, India, Pakistan, Singapore. I never believed India and Pakistan is sort of dwindling, has the dwindling birth rate, but the data tells me it happened. So, but there are some countries still enjoying robust birth rate in our, let's say, member states, countries. So the population growth is ongoing. So there are thriving sort of developers. Now we understand many of them suffering. So did our profession of architecture. So we need to restructure. So when Evergrande collapsed, Evergrande was one of my clients. So we were sort of a little shocked, and then how we get paid. But luckily, we got paid. But thinking about these sort of a mechanism or success formula of these Evergrande, Vanker, it is a little kind of surprising. They rely on the vision produced by a genius like more than 100 years ago. So we need to change that sort of a success formula. So I do not doubt the genius of Le Corbusier, but Hedwig Studio has a very good book published, like a Human Eyes. There is a little bit of a criticism. I buy their idea about criticizing Le Corbusier's a little bit of a monotonous kind of cookie cutter buildings. But when the rebels in architecture met in La Sarraz in Swiss, they had some sort of a visionary vision to make the world more sort of a democratic, equivalent, access to housing. That was a very good thing. And after that, there are some sort of evolution of trees happening. But nowadays, the world is watching, like the United States, again, withdraw from the Paris Convention. And under Mr. Donald Trump. So world is watching what will be the Asia's path or trajectory to the carbon-free world. we need to prove. And President Saifuddin talked about some sort of, let's say, a new vision that Asian architects, we need to prove ourselves. So repositioning new mindset, the speed, no more. So that, anyway, many countries in Asia, sort of one of the top, let's say, carbon emission countries. But with ARCASIA, we need to bring a sort of idea of more circular, wholesome approach to architecture. I think Philip Yuan did a very good presentation about reminding us how architects can help a local village. So that I was reminded by sort of, because my beloved grandmother, when she passed away, her final wish was, even though I will go to the grave, but after 20 years, please cremate me, my remains, and then scatter my remains to my hometown. So exactly 30 years after she passed away, we just followed, and it was my sort of a beloved grandmother. So we try to think about architecture, and the left-hand slide was the architecture is sort of being assembled. The right-hand side is sort of, let's say, being disassembled. And then after the building, it's finished its lifespan, there goes sort of a very natural sort of a thing. That's the idea. So we need to think about ourselves, to think about life cycle, but in a more circular way. That's my sort of a, let's say, agenda that I want to push or develop with under President Wu Jian. So Asia has plentiful sort of, let's say, precedents or inspiration, including this Shinto shrine in Ise, Japan. And if I go to Thailand, I also have those sort of lessons and inspirations. About 3 years ago, many architects went to Copenhagen, and then there's a announcement of Copenhagen lessons. So part of the lesson number 3, existing built structure must always be reused first. That's a difficult one. So no new development must erase greenfield. Many architects are trying to push this agenda, but when I did a project for a client, and I said to him like, no sort of, let's say, too much coating or paint. And then he said, like, a Gibson, and probably you will be sued in about 3 years. That was a difficult challenge. But Asia, we have plentiful of inspiration from Jopri Bauer of Sri Lanka. And then there are good cases of the architect Liu Jiakun, the last year's Pritzker winner. So with ARCASIA's commitment and leadership, so that we have 5, let's say, committees and fellowships, so that pushing this agenda further will enrich the Asian architecture and our lives of, let's say, helping the society to lead a better life. I was serving the last year's ARCASIA Award for Architecture, and then Saifuddin was the chief juror. So we had a very great submissions from all over Asia. So there's a plentiful of best cases, examples that we need to learn and then inspire. So there are ARCASIA Award for Architecture video is online, although we do not have the TikTok account at the moment, but you can enjoy. So finally, my final slide is I actually sponsored a student from Africa, Rwanda, to come to Korea and had an internship. I had some hard time to convince the ministry to issue a visa. Last week, he got married. He found the love of his life, and then he sent me this photo. So it's a sort of a very good personal memory to me. But at the same time, within ARCASIA, we can do much better to encourage and foster the exchange of architects and then students. so that we can build a better future. Thank you so much.
非常感谢瑞先生的这个精彩报告啊！下面我们首先邀请我们的武校长来给这个我们的瑞主席另外一位主席，2位主席，有请。好，非常感谢我们这个瑞主席的报告啊。其实，我觉得也是真的让人耳目一新，因为我觉得瑞主席呢是从一个非常宏观的视角，从现在全球化里面包含的多样的议题来对建筑师后续的我们叫 mindset 以及一些技术技能都提出了非常新的挑战在现在这样一个某种意义上特殊时期的全球化阶段下，我们的确要思考如何培养现在的建筑师或者规划师、景观师，面对刚才他所提到的气候变化、碳排以及老龄化，我们需要从我们专业的角度给到更新的、更好的一些回应。所以他所强调的是一种循环、一种全生命周期的建筑设计。我想后续我们同济也会在这个方向有更多的发力。让我们再次感谢瑞先生。接下来呢，是我们今天早上这个主旨报告的最后一位嘉宾，当然悠悠里我们会说 last but not least，是来自我们同济大学建筑与城市规划学院景观学系的系主任，同时他也获得了上海市工程勘察设计大师的称号，并且这个我们的张明教授。可以说是获得了无数的奖项，在近10年获得国际国内省部级以上的这个设计奖有165项，其中呢，亚洲建筑师协会的建筑奖有7项。那么他会跟我们分享他在整个建筑实践特别是可能是一个大设计这样的一个理念下的很多的实践项目以及背后的思考。让我们欢迎张明教授。
各位上午好啊，非常高兴受到邀请来做这个演讲。当然也特别祝贺武江教授接任这个亚建协的主席啊，因为亚洲建筑师协会给我的支持也非常大啊。刚才这个王院长介绍，这么多年我们的这个实践有7次获得过这个亚建协的这个奖励。今天在座的这个亚建协的领导当中也有给我颁过奖的，瑞塔我不知道记不记得这个曾经给我颁过这个亚建协的金奖。好，今天给大家分享的，我是从另外一个视角我们有非常多的这个实践我也是从把建筑、把城市设计、把景观设计、把艺术设计多维度的整合到一个大设计的这个理念当中但今天想给大家分享的呢是关于我们在城市基础设施这个领域的一些探索大家知道这个城市基础设施作为一个大的人工地表，默默的支撑和支持着这个城市的系统运营的这个系统所以大量的这个资源实际上都是投入到大的这个城市基础设施当中的很多的这个包括路易康，包括基础设施都市主义的这个 Stan Allen也都对城市基础设施做过一定的这个研究。大家看到它就是一张大的人工地表，所以某种意义上来讲，它也是一个大的城市的公共空间当然城市基础设施当中有很多是有邻避效应的包括像污水处理厂，包括像这样的垃圾处理厂等等。那么曾经城市基础设施跟我们的日常生活是被隔离的当然我们刚才谈到这个邻避能不能转化成为营避我们能不能去拥抱和利用这个城市基础设施，把我们的日常生活，把我们的日常空间跟城市基础设施能够联动和连接起来。那么城市基础设施还有一个大的就是它的转型大量的城市基础设施被废弃之后，它是仅仅会被拆除，只有这样的一条命运吗？它能不能被转型、被利用我们知道大量的城市基础设施能不能转型成为城市的新的公共空间，转型成为新的功能，让它同样的再进一步的 支持这个城市的这个系统的运营，支持我们的日常的生活啊。所以我们做了一个分析啊，这是上海的一个数据分析，大家可以看到我们的城市基础设施用地、我们的 U 型用地和 S 用地啊，大概啊不包括交通基础设施啊，整个的这个公用设施的占地大概在上海算少的，大概占到2.48%，城市我们平均大概占到3%左右的城市用地啊，是用于公用设施的一个用地啊。那么市政设施用地呢，大概占到1.2%。假如说市政设施用地的这个用地的量啊，我们放在这个北京来比的话，有10.3个天安门的广场这么多啊；放在上海的静安公园比的话，有135.5个静安公园这么大。假设我们的城市基础设施能够有50%的空间能够向老百姓开放，大家可以想象一下，上海仅仅是市政设施 U 型用地就可以增加70多个静安公园，67个静安公园啊，就我们城市会多出67个这个静安公园来啊，这还是仅仅是说50%的开放度和利用率啊，所以如果说我们有70%的开放度，甚至是100%啊，这个城市的公共的空间会大大的这个增加。当然，如果我们算上交通和广场的 S 用地，大家想象一下，我们占到20.49%的这个用地当中，那么我们会有2300多个静安公园啊。那么这个当中，我们哪怕能10%能够释放出来，我们又会增加230个这样的一个公园哈。所以这就是我们说对于城市基础设施的一个认知。那么我们通常的建筑师对这一部分的关注相对来讲是比较少的啊。所以我们持续的这么10年来关注基础设施的复合化和这个公共化啊。我们切入点是这个布尔迪厄的这个场域理论。场域理论的一个核心，它是一个社会学的概念啊。我们场域理论的一个核心是谈到它的关系啊，谈到它的这个我们所说的场域理论作为一种新的城市更新的理论模型的建构啊。那这个当中我们就提出，除了我们建筑师关注的物理空间，那么同样的它的社会空间和象征空间在我们这个城市当中会起到什么样的作用啊？所以城市基础设施的复合化，我们是希望通过全景化的空间塑造，建筑与环境的这样的一种暧昧的关系，它不是非此即彼的这样的一种关系啊，建立基础设施和人群活动之间的关联。由此，我们提出了一个新的理论建构，就是叫场域基础设施啊。为了这个基础设施，我们也发表了大量的文章，我们也在这个不同的这个专业杂志进行组稿啊。希望下回能够在亚洲建筑这个杂志也组一期这样的稿，我们关注一下整个我们亚建协24个成员单位下，我们对于基础设施的探索跟实践啊，我们已经做了5期的这样的一个专题组稿啊。那么我们研究场域基础设施它带来的特色特征啊，一个是复合性、动态性、多元性，还有一个非常重要的就是协作性啊。这个协同机制的推动，实际上是一个非常重要的这个推手啊。那么它的要素除了我们说的物质空间之外啊，很核心的啊，物质空间和工程技术之外，很核心的是跟参与主体有关，也跟政策法规有关啊。所以政策法规和机制反而现在是痛点和难点啊。那它的特征，除了刚才我们谈到特性之外啊，它的维度包括空间多义啊，空间不再是单一的功能啊，协作要多元啊，不同的主体啊产生协作的这个工作啊，规则灵活。就我们如果套用现行的规则规范，很多路径是打不通的啊。我们要创新我们的一些新的规则和新的一些 rulers 啊，还有就是技术的这个动态，就技术的发展能够支持我们的城市基础设施复合和开放啊。所以它的这个策略啊，包括柔化边界啊。那么建筑的这个基础设施，大家知道这是邻闭的，围墙围起来的，闲人免入啊，就一般的人不希望你进入的啊。而我们是希望它能够把边界做柔化，创造多维的空间层次啊，对边界进行解读和再构。那最后我们的核心的目标是把边界变成交界啊，变成从边界变成一种交织的交界的这样的一种状态啊。我们回到我们的实践啊，这个浦东这个黄浦江两岸的这个贯通啊，黄浦江两岸从这个生产性的这个空间转变成为一个生活性的空间，成为上海的大的这个城市客厅。那么在浦东啊，有这么一个 游船码头啊，大家知道码头就是一个交通的这个基础设施啊。这个我们在2019年得到的亚建协的金奖啊，当时就是瑞塔给颁的奖啊。那么这个项目大家可以看到，就在整个滨江边要把这个场域贯通啊。那么它是一个完整的用地，实际上是把整个滨江的贯通进行了一个割裂。那我们要做的做法就是这个边界它要做安检，所以它的边界是严格维控的啊。那么我们在这个严格维控的这个边界基础上，把顶部的空间打开，这个是进入的要安检的空间，而下部的空间就是开放的空间。当然，我们还有很多我们结构的这个系统化的这个结构性的这个处理啊。我们用了非常细的15.8厘米的这个16厘米的这个柱径，上面是大的混凝土的这个线胶，顶部还要做覆土。啊，做这个绿化的这个种植啊，这个是后话啊。我们今天重点谈的是它如何能够把边界消解、边界消融啊。我们用了一个曲约束的这个系统来做啊。大家可以看到下部的开放的空间跟上部的这个空间，把整个这个滨江边是完全可以拉通贯通的。所以纵向啊要安检的，但是横向沿江面是完全贯通可以拉通的啊。我们做的机场联络线，也就是地铁车站，大家知道地铁车站也是一个交通的基础设施啊。那地铁车站带来的一个最大的问题是什么？大家看到地铁车站的一个特色和特点啊，我们做的是30南站啊，在这个城市的绿野当中。那么地铁车站带来的一个问题就是它有大量的这个基础设施从地面上面要冒出来啊。我们计算了一下，大概有18个这个基础设施要从地面冒出啊，所以我们在这个场地当中的这个地铁车站，我们希望它能够把自然、把城市、把人重新 relink 啊，把它重新链接出来。它本来就处在上海的一个外环的这个生态走廊内啊，有着非常好的自然景观和这个村落环绕啊。当然在建的时候，它有它自己的一个基地啊，这个基地属于它的啊，它完全可以把这个基地维和起来，可以闲人免入啊。但是我们希望这个车站是跟这个场地能够链接和融通的，不要因为这个城市基础设施的一个灰色的城市基础设施割裂了林地的这个连接。我们希望把林地之间把它友好的能够把它串联起来啊，建立联系，形成场域啊，这就是我们的目标。大家可以看到整个场地用地当中啊，城市基础设施用地应该都是比较宽裕的啊。大概我们数了一下啊，有18个这个构筑物啊，要从地下向地面延展啊，大家看到大量的地铁车站就会有好多的风景啊，好多的这个疏散的出入口啊等等啊，零零落落啊，在这个城市当中，成为一些把空间分割的非常零碎的这样的一些设施啊。我们通过45度的这个旋转啊，我们通过跟林地的脉络的连接，建立场地的这个联系啊，同时包括把单元叠合生长，形成一个辅导的这个森林，把所有的设施18件设施都融入到我们的整个的这个建构体系当中啊。所有的东西都在啊。假如说是大家可以看到传统的灰色的这个基础设施的这个建构，大量的辅助性的构筑物啊，我们希望把这些构筑物都整合到我们整个的这个剖面和体系当中啊，让这个车站本身变成一个城市的公共空间，变成一个立体的这个漂浮公园啊。所以我们说，我们是希望这个除了啊坐地铁、坐交通的人可以运用这个空间，周边的居民啊，包括这个周边的这个包括很多的产业的工人都能够共同的使用这个空间，同时也不因为一个灰色的这个基础设施啊，把我们的林地林带的这个绿脉啊进行一个大的割裂啊。所以我们是形成了织补了一个林和城的一个绿势的链接啊，把它们俩之间链接起来啊。这做完以后的这个立体公园的这个形式，不同的标高啊，大量的这个人们这个把出入口都融入到我们的整个这个体系当中啊，它就成了一个我们造了一个地铁站，但同时也造了一个公园啊，造了一个公园，做了一个立体的公园啊。这是周边的这个进出地铁的人群啊，以及来周边活动的这个人群。啊，在享用这样的公共空间啊，同时我们也希望营造一些小的生境。这个呢，是我们在做整个这个城市基础设施当中容易忽视的啊，就是对小的生态空间、生境空间的这个营造啊。所以我们也希望提供场地，包括雨洪管理、生物栖区等等啊。所以通过我们的这个设计，改变了原来的灰色城市基础设施的这个完全是一个封闭技术体的这样的一个形象。我们把绿化率提高到了60%啊。 第二个就叠合生长啊，大家知道基础设施本身的这个功能啊，它有它功能的这个诉求和完善啊，但是土地没有办法复合使用，所以我们的大的一个目标就是能够推动功能复合，推动土地的复合使用，然后在垂直方向上面可以叠加不同的功能啊。我们在做的是这个苏州河南岸的这个空间，我们也在这个2022年的亚建协奖啊，也得了 mention 的这个奖励啊。那么整个这个南段的这个公共空间当中，大家会看到我们的这几个小的这个建筑，其实都是基础设施复合的这样的一个案例啊，叠合复合的这样的一个案例。大家看这么一个小小的界亭啊，在外滩啊，在这个外白渡桥的这个旁边。那这个界亭是怎么来的呢？是由于吴淞路闸桥被拆除之后啊，留下的这个一个桥的基础。啊，一个桥的桥墩，大家知道防汛墙上我们是没有办法做这个界亭的，但是这个桥墩非常强大，所以在桥墩上面，我们通过我们桥墩的围绕的这个基础的构建啊，向上面叠加出我们的公共的活动空间。这个呢原来是一个倒班房啊，也是这个服务于周边的这样的一个这个公共设施的这个处理用房。我们把房子拆除之后啊，把房子拆掉，并没有新建啊，通过把这个房子。这个基础设施的这个房子拆除啊，拆除它的顶啊，留下它的柱和它的梁啊，然后把地形进行重构，然后把顶部释放出它的公共空间啊。这个房子不是建起来的，这个房子是拆出来的啊，拆出来以后形成一个樱花谷啊，大家可以立体化的公共服务的空间啊。这些梁柱都是原来的老的这个建筑的保留啊。那旁边我们的泵站、泵房、公共厕所不去动它啊，保留这个基础上。我们把顶部啊进行叠加啊，形成一个驿站的功能啊，所以大家看到原来的一个垃圾处理站，就是一个垃圾处理点啊，大家很难想象离外滩这么近的地方有个垃圾处理点啊。通过我们的改造之后，维持原有的一些基础设施不变，底下的这个基础设施不变啊，倒班房也好，监控中心也好，泵站啊，这个包括配电间啊，那么在顶部形成我们的驿站。啊，那么加油站啊，加油站也是城市的一个基础设施。上海大概有1000个这样的这个加油站啊，大家可以看司空见惯啊，司空见惯的这样的加油站。那么我们就希望把这个加油站，由于技术改造、技术提升啊，我们希望融入公共空间的功能啊，把它改变成为一个有着咖啡厅、有的展厅、有的超市啊，有着这个各种各样的公共服务内容的啊，有着驿站功能的这样的一个复合体。啊，加油站不再是传统的加油站啊，加油站它的表情也可以是多样性的啊，所以这是我们做的，这个确实是中国的第一个加油站的这个转型啊，这是跟河的关系，跟这个展览、咖啡、观景平台等等啊，包括跟苏州河边、跟城市之间啊它的关联关系，这就是加油站啊。这个在上海，这个我不知道在亚洲其他国家啊，在上海本来是面貌统一的一个模式化的这个加油站。那我们希望在一些重要的这个节点，它是能够跟日常的公共生活紧密结合在一起的啊。周边的这个员工、职工也可以在这里来开晨会啊等等。我们刚刚啊这个参加了这个1月4号到1月4号为止的这个第3届的上海美术大展，我们提出的一个概念就是加油站的这个 N 种可能啊，这是当时在上海美术馆啊进行展览的时候的这个场景啊。那实际上我们的想法和目标就是这样1000个这样的同质化的加油站的这个基础设施。占据了非常好的地位地点，因为它是一个军部的啊。大家看到，这就是我们曾经有的加油站。上海这样的加油站大概有1000多座啊。那么我们在想，加油站成为了城市空间里的一个固化的功能符号啊，有没有可能通过我们的这个努力，撕开它的这个加油的单一的这样的一个功能的标签啊，把它变成其他的一种可能性啊？这是我们在做的一些加油站的实践啊，很小的项目。啊，但是这个加油站的这个小小的加油站对整个周边环境的这个品质提升，能够起到一个非常好的良好的作用啊。这是我们在尝试中的一些加油站啊。这个就是刚才谈到的这个上海的这个第一加油站啊。它的加油的方式也在改变，加油的效率也在提高，包括它跟周边环境的这个联动和匹配啊，它跟苏州河边的这样的一个视线和这样的一个功能的这个对应啊，内部的这个咖啡厅的这个功能啊，可以有一些展示的这个展廊的这个把咖啡厅的把加油站的这个历史啊进行一个展示啊。那这个是我们在做的这个高安路的这个加油站啊，这个加油站就在一些老的里弄住宅的这个旁边，所以我们希望这个加油站它有它自己的一个表情表达和有它的自己的一个历史文化的 这样的一种特质和特性而不仅仅是一个大家都司空见惯的单一的一个加油站的一个单一标签这也是我们在南京做的一个这个红花加油站这里面我们也融入了一些公共的功能，也把加油机跟我们的整个的这个建构这个融入到一体当然更多的是能够提供一些公共空间给到这个周边的这个居民所以我们希望呢，我们是这个看到这个加油站，它不仅仅是我们所看到的日常看到的这个刻板的印象的这个加油站它也能够提供更多的可能性它不仅仅是一个冰冷的建筑，藏着无数和生活与城市相关联的这个新的风景，所以它有各种各样的新的这种可能大家看到我们在高安路边做的这个加油站这个加油站当中，我们把这片绿地和这片绿地把公共的绿地把它进行了一个串联，加油站成为了一个纽带，成为了一个链接它不仅仅是加油的功能，它同时有观景、有咖啡厅、有小的超市、有公共服务驿站的功能这是改造前大家看到的，又是我们看到的司空见惯的加油站这改造后这个加油站本身也有了它的文化特质和文化表达我们不说把上海的1000个加油站都改变，我觉得这个当中，假如说有10%到20%能改变加油站的形象，城市的表情就会发生变化那最后我们的目标就是开放共享公共生活发生改变，但我们觉得它发生重组这个我们要赋予它更多元化的这个功能更跟城市更多的这个交织和交接我们也希望我们把我们越来越多的这个设计，我们越来越多的这个场景从一种宏大叙事逐渐转向日常性能够跟老百姓的生活息息相关。我们做的杨滨江的公共空间这个我们也是获得了2018年的亚健协的金奖这个整个的这个空间我们延续耕耘了很多年，现在还在做提升当中大家看到的这个栈桥，这就是一个城市基础设施的一个公共空间的这个利用顶部我们把它释放成为城市的公共空间，下部是做的这个拦污网和防撞桩这个我们做的绿之丘，大家知道一个城市的道路要从底部穿越，所以它要被拆除原来的这个房子已经要拆掉了，我们提出了议案，在不拆房子的情况下，跟城市的道路空间在底部进行穿越这个大家可以看到，这是拆出来的一栋房子这是原来的体量拆除之后所形成的这个体量关系里面的整个的这个绿质绿化的融入原来这条道路建这条道路规划的时候，这个房子整个就要被拆除了我们主动提案把它进行了保留在保留之后做的这个一个立体花园不同的时间年代，绿植在生长，建筑在生长建筑的这个活动，大家看看20年、23年不同的活动，它内部的空间、采光景，包括我们把绿化植入下面的道路在底部进行穿越，这也是把基础设施跟这个立体花园进行的一个叠合空中的这个花园不同的年代的时间的这个成长我们快速的看，它实际上就是各种功能的这个复合和叠加把一个城市道路跟这个建筑进行了一个穿越这个在上海应该还是第一例这个当然牵扯到很多的规则规范的矛盾很多的解决不了的问题那么这个是大家看到以后后续在这个绿之丘当中所举办的各种各样的活动这个我们也得了亚健协的这个奖我就快速的过一下这是小红书上的各种各样的展示时间关系我可能就看不了太多的这个绿之丘的这个的视频它实际上是形成了在这个滨水公共空间当中的一个重要的城市节点这个节点可以让老百姓登高望远提供了一个它可以自由的进出、自由的徜徉的这样的一个空间，所以就从一个完全的封闭的空间最后变成了一个非常的开放的24小时可以自由的进入的这样的一个空间我觉得这个就是这个一个建筑一个城市基础设施所带来的价值我们做了一个风塔风塔我们称之为风塔停车，这个风塔呢是江浦路隧道，就是过江隧道要做的一个风塔那这个风塔有它自己的用地空间，但是我们希望它滨水之间能够把这个用地空间的围墙拆除，能够把这个空间的公共空间跟我们的滨水的公共空间融为一体，让老百姓可以自由的进出、自由的进入，但是不影响它风塔的功能。大家看看，这就是我们的灰色的基础设施通过我们的努力 在底部留出公共厕所，留出这个饮水空间，留出这个游戏空间等等所以整个在这个场地当中，包括地下车库的这个进出口等等共同的把这个原有的一片封闭的城市基础设施用地彻底的开放融入这个当中当然还有好多我们的结构的这个处理等等那这个空间原来是封闭的原来是这个一个城市基础设施的一个独立用地但是它现在成为了公共空间里面的一个有机的组成部分，包括我们刚才谈到的在城市空间当中所做的微环境、微气候的这样的一种调节和公共空间的一种这个营造那最后的一个案例就是我们的杨树浦电厂的这个遗迹公园这个遗迹公园这个是电厂从转型之后把燃煤的污染的这个空间转型成为了一个生态绿色开放的共享的这样的一个空间这是整个前区部分我们做的这个滨水空间的改造，我们保留了原来场地当中的这个基理把原来的一些场地基理保留以后呢我们这个记忆还仍然在这个当中当然有好多可以聊的这个话题当然我们想说的意思就是这些城市基础设施如果能够通过我们的设计转型转变成为公共的使用，它的生命得以延续regeneration， 这是一个非常简单的一个净水池的基础。我们在这个净水池的基础上面做了这个批水孔的咖啡厅然后最后变成了一个净水池的这个咖啡厅很普通的基础都成了坐垫座椅，但是这个记忆留在了这个场地当中灰仓原来是用灰的烧完的煤的煤灰，我们把灰仓变成了一个艺术的这个空间这个泵坑泵站就是抽泵的泵就是水泵的这个泵房和水池也是一个基础设施我们把这个基础设施变成了一个艺术的这个空间就是基础设施通过我们的一些介入勇气的介入变成地下的负11米深的一个很有趣的这个艺术空间这是滨江的整个的这个视频我们就不看了时间关系当然我们总体而言我们就在做一些探索，这个探索的核心就是希望能够把这些曾经灵璧的曾经闲人免入的这些公共空间能够释放给城市，让它跟城市真正的链接起来。当然这个是回到今天的主题，这是一个非常大的挑战这个挑战其实这里面的很多项目要做成一个其实都是非常不容易，虽然有些项目并不大但是它的挑战非常大。我们的土地的这个政策我们的管理的机制，我们的不同部门条块分割管理的这个协同的这个困难等等都是挑战所以我觉得这个挑战不仅仅是对设计的挑战，更多的是对观念、对价值观、对我们的政策、对我们的机制的这个挑战所以我想这个挑战可能在亚洲我们其他的这个地区和国家可能同样存在。当然我觉得挑战也是机遇所以回到我们今天的这个主题，就是挑战也给我们带来了更多的机遇我们协同力量，我们共同探索，虽然举步维艰，但是我觉得未来是光明的。谢谢各位
非常感谢张明教授的报告下面还是有请我们武校长上台给我们的主旨报告的嘉宾颁发感谢状。好的，我们看到张明教授通过提出这个场域基础设施，也用了他非常多的设计案例来展现了在现在这样的一种就是城市更新作为非常重要的一个我们的实践领域中间哪些非常有特点的这个基础设施类型能够作为我们后续建筑师可能发力的要点。在我们规划领域呢，我们其实有一个叫灰色基础设施这样一个理念，所以我想今天张明老师也是用他的很多新颖的设计手法，让我们看到了这样基础设施重新焕发活力的这个可能性。今天呢，我们刚才的这个主旨报告的环节，各位看到了有2位来自那个业界，2位来自学界的这个报告人，给到我们非常多这个前沿理念、实践经验的分享。同时呢，他们也在现在这样的一个变化的时代下，对于我们整个学科和职业的发展有了很多深度的思考。所以我想今天也是一个思考和对话的开始。 我想肯定会在我们这个武江校长作为这个亚建协的主席的后续2年时间，怎么能够基于我们亚洲这么多的建筑师、规划师、景观师共同的一个努力，来看到未来如何更好的去发展学科，更好的把我们的整个的建成环境变得更加的舒适、宜人、健康和可持续。让我们再次感谢4位我们的主旨嘉宾。按照这个议程的要求啊，请允许我在此邀请我们4位发言嘉宾到台上来合影，也请我们的武校长，还有我们其他的几位主席能够一起来台上这个 take a group photo， 作为我们今天早上这个主旨报告环节的一个最后的留念。Maybe please， 有没有翻译？Yeah， 那个韩国的对，Yeah，please welcome to the no，OK。Yeah， 好的，各位这个嘉宾，各位我们的老师同学，我们的主席刚刚回来，我们在这里再一次的这个祝贺武江校长作为我们后面亚建协的主席，我们同济将用最大的这个努力来支持后续整个亚建协的工作。也欢迎我们各位亚建协的委员能够多到同济，多到上海来。那我宣布我们今天早上的主旨报告环节到此结束，也感谢我们在座的各位同仁、老师和学生，谢谢。